Well, hello again, everybody. This is John Norris at Trading Perspectives. As always, we have our good friend, Sam Clement. Sam, say hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I hope you're doing well.
I am. I cannot complain.
I can't complain either. Although I have found recently a lot of people are complaining about a lot of different things. And one of the things I hear people complaining about is just everything being un-American, just this concept of things being un-American. And, I actually got into a conversation with someone talking about wearing a mask in public as being un-American. And, Sam, I don't really know about that. I wanted to get your generation's perspective of it. I can tell you that this Gen Xer myself, I think personally I have enough to worry about with my life, paying the bills, mortgages, kids, all that stuff, college payments, 4 cars. Wait for that, Sam. And I don't know if I've got enough time to worry about whether or not wearing a mask in public is a violation of my patriotism or what have you. But Sam, I wanted to get you, a Gen Z person, I believe you're Gen Z or Gen Y, I can't remember which one. You're certainly not X. How do people of your generation feel about wearing a mask in public?
Well, I'll say the same caveat I say every time when you ask for my opinion on my generation's opinion. And that caveat is I think those two are often not fully aligned. But with that being said, to me, I can't speak for everyone, but to me, it's shocking that this has become a political issue. And it has become a political issue. Whether you should wear one or not, and the efficacy or lack of efficacy, whichever side people are on. And it seems that it has become such a polarizing issue for something that, I get the mandates have changed and everyone's kind of learning as they go. But the fact that this is a right wing versus left wing issue and not a issue of, okay, is this something that is good for the public health? It's just hard for me to wrap my brain around it. And, if people are coming from the argument that it's not effective, okay, sure, go with that. You don't think it's effective, you don't want to wear one, go for it. But if it's becoming a lack of my civil freedoms or, my basic principles of this country, I don't get it. I don't get how people who think this is good for your health and for the health of everyone in this country, for something that has decimated our population, is a infringement of your rights, like the Second Amendment.
All right, and with that, we always love to hear from you. Sam, unfortunately, here I was. I thought we were going to trade perspectives today, but I kind of feel the same way you do. I don't understand how this has become a political issue, a right-wing versus left-wing type thing, that if you wear one, you're a commie. If you don't wear one, you're waving the flag. And maybe that's being a little bit extreme, but there does seem to be an element of partisan politics at play when talking about wearing a mask. Now, in Alabama, we have removed the mask mandates, as have a lot of other states. Frankly, most states have. But there are still some establishments, private establishments, businesses here in town that they don't mandate, they ask that you wear a mask when you come into their store.
And even if they do mandate, personally, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's hard for you to be all gung-ho for free market and, capitalism, and then think private businesses shouldn't be allowed to decide, what you need to wear. I mean, to go into their establishment. I mean, that to me, the proof of vaccines may be a little different argument with, HIPAA and all that. But as far as what you need to have on to go into someone's establishment, if that's what a company wants to do, and that's going to either help or hurt their business, that is their right. That is their prerogative to decide what you need to have on to protect their own people, or in their minds, protect their own people.
Sam, I agree with you 110% on what you just said, because I feel the exact same way. And someone, I was talking about this with someone, they actually kind of called me out on it, saying, that's ridiculous. They don't really have a right to do that, blah, blah, blah. I said, how many times have you seen a place that says no shirts, no shoes, no service?
Right.
You know,
And
I
had no
mean,
problem with it,
absolutely no problem with it.
because you want the people that are going into that establishment, or they want, at least the people who own that business want the people to have a certain look. I mean, there's nice restaurants require a suit, or at least a blazer, a jacket.
Yeah,
Um,
but people don't take issue with that.
exactly.
So
But
why wearing a thin piece of gauze over your nose and mouth while you're doing your grocery shopping? How is that, Sam, an infringement on your rights? Anything more than wearing shirt and shoes into the grocery store?
and that's what continues to kind of baffle me is a lot of the people I've seen have more of an issue with it are people that, for most things, agree with free market capitalism and allowing businesses to run their business how they want to. It's their right. They started the business, they took on the risk. But if they make this decision, then it gets a little out there and a little confusing.
Again, shoot, I was just trying to trade perspectives with you here today, but I will tell you this, though, Sam, kind of as an aside. Sometimes, and depending on the mood I'm in, truly, and maybe how much I've had to drink as well. When I go to a place and I see no shirt, no shoes, no service, that's fine. I put on my shoes, I put on my shirt, I just drop my pants and walk on in. And to date, that hasn't been met very well. When I do that type of thing. Your thoughts?
I can't say I've done the same, so I'm gonna have to lean on your understanding of pantsless dining.
Yeah, I haven't done that, by the way. I was just teasing, trying to get a reaction out of you. But I have always thought that would be pretty funny to do that if I were in better shape, I think. But going back to masks, I think people when they're really talking about this being un-American or whatnot, their beef isn't necessarily with the grocery store or the convenience store, or the bank, asking you to put on a mask. I think they view it as, rightly or wrongly, that the government is mandating that you put on a mask, and
Right.
that leads to a different question: should the government, local, state, national, should it have the power to mandate that you wear a mask in public?
And that's a trickier issue, because then you're starting to bring in the Constitution, and there's been, recent rulings that somewhat apply to this. But they're allowed to mandate seatbelts. I mean, they're allowed to mandate other things that are for the safety, and that this is something that, again, I'm not going to make an argument on efficacy or what have you. I mean, to me, it seems like there has to be some benefit to it, but nonetheless, there's a lot of externalities with this issue, and it's not like a seatbelt where generally if you get in a wreck without your seatbelt, you're the only one who's probably going to get really hurt, or the most hurt. It's the complete opposite with this. This is something that is generally meant to protect those around you, and so I think it is a little tricky, especially when it is in a pandemic and a health crisis. And I think there's kind of mixed rulings constitutionally about whether the government does or does not have the right to do this. I mean, we were in the same situation in the late 1910s with the Spanish flu. I mean, there was mask mandates. So it doesn't give me heartburn whether or not it is. I think there's a lot of things that are unconstitutional that I would be going after before a government requiring you to help probably slow the spread of a deadly disease.
Sam, I think you're mostly right on this. I'm not real crazy about the government mandating I do something. However, it already does, and I acquiesce to it, truthfully. And most of the stuff, your seat belts and what have you. But Sam, I would say there's nothing against the law about me having 6 beers. If I want to have 6 to 8 beers, the government's not going to stop me from doing that, right?
Right.
However, if they catch me driving a car after drinking 6 to 8 beers, guess what? I get into real trouble, don't I?
And the difference is as soon as you get into that vehicle, you're, if you have 6 to 8 at your house, no biggie. I mean, you get in a car, it's Pandora's box of opportunities for things to go wrong for others.
Yes, and that's kind of the key point I was trying to make. You know, if it's only yourself that you're worried about, no, I mean, government should mandate that, although they do. But when you're potentially risking someone else's life, is it fair for the government to do that? And I would say, it's probably I might say it's okay. Now, in terms of the scientific proof that masks aren't effective and all that stuff, I listen. I don't know all that stuff. It's to me, it's intuitive. If I'm sneezing inside a mask, now not as many particulates are getting out into the air. It might not be completely 100% effective, but it does seem better than nothing without me walking out in public wearing a gas mask or something like that.
Yep.
The thin piece of gauze. Will it help? Won't it help? It's if it's a 50-50, sure, why not? Absolutely, why not?
I'm
But,
with you. I
but
mean,
does that make me un-American?
I would
No.
hope not. We'd have two commies filming a podcast.
that commie. I think that's the third time we've used the word commie, which is now the fourth time we've used the word commie. The fifth, I better stop. When was the last time you heard that word out there? And I'm going to tell you, I don't think wearing a mask on my face makes me a commie.
Well, to some it does.
Here we are, two very right of center guys in a very right of center state, and here we are saying that wearing a mask just does not make you a commie. There are going to be some people that listen to this here in Alabama that will think that we are what for feeling this way.
I guess it's 6 times now because they're going to think you're.
Shifting gears mightily. Speaking of commies, Sam, your thoughts on the meeting between Vladimir Putin and President Biden here today in Geneva?
I don't have a lot of excitement for it. It's seems like a non-starter. Seems like they're on completely different wavelengths. To put it nicely.
Well,
one is on wavelengths and the other's not.
What I have noticed about the video clips that I have seen, this all coming back to masks, Sam. All coming back to masks. What I've noticed about from the video clips is, strangely enough, all this debate about masks around, President Biden's not wearing a mask. Putin, president or czar, I don't know. I mean, why doesn't Putin just quit with the pretense and crown himself? Putin's not wearing a mask. Lavrov, the foreign minister for the Russians, isn't wearing a mask. Blinken's not wearing a mask. However, the press corps is wearing a mask. What gives?
That's been an interesting topic. Is it has become almost a sense of comfort for people wearing a mask. The new guidance, and I'm all for going with the guidance. I mean, doesn't get me all up in a tizzy to follow what the CDC says. But if they're now saying once you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask, guess what I'm not doing anymore?
Unless you're going to a grocery store that asks you to do it, right?
Right. But if I don't have to, and a lot of places around here now are saying if you're vaccinated, you don't have to, and they're not asking for it. It's just kind of an honor code. But, that's what's shocking to me is people who are they are now on the other side. They are now not following CDC guidelines because they are now making it political because they don't want to seem like the people who previously didn't want to wear masks. So they are now going to continue to wear masks to not seem like the people who previously disagreed with the CDC. Everyone's flipping sides now.
So you have people virtue signaling or something like that?
I think that's probably a good term for it. Yeah.
Well, there. Yeah. Listen, I just frankly, we brought this up today really because it is a real question mark for me. Why the people are so passionate over this? And you've read a number of different articles, seen the headlines, seen it on the news, people getting in fights at the grocery store, people duking it out, being asked to wear a mask. I don't get it, Sam.
Someone got killed yesterday at a grocery store in Georgia.
at the Big Bear. I think that was the name of the place. The Big Bear grocery store in Atlanta. Someone got killed. It's just stop it already. If a business,
it's a piece of paper over your mouth. I mean, I had to wear it for 6 hours on a flight. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's inconvenient, but
it's not even all that inconvenient. In any event, in terms of economics, which is what we're supposed to be talking about here on this, if a private business is asking you to put on a mask to go to their store, guess what? That's their affair. And if you don't want to wear a mask, don't go into the store. You've got a right to not go into the store. Don't go into the store and then start throwing fives, if you catch my drift. Or slinging bullets.
I mean, people have always done that, boycott things that they don't agree with their political stance. And since this is now a political thing, that's fine. If you don't want to go into a place that still requires it, I bet they don't want you to go in.
Yeah.
They're doing that for a reason. You're on the same page. It's weird to me that this has now become something where people don't want to boycott. They want to continue to go to the place that apparently disagrees with what they do,
so they can make a scene and throw fives. And by saying throwing fives, I'm talking about.
I know what you're saying. I haven't heard that term in a long time, but
it's just the old man coming out and me saying. You haven't heard it in a long time because I haven't used it in a long time.
I think you're the only one I've ever heard use that term.
Well, all right. So here we are at the end of this edition of Trading Perspectives. And Sam, here we are on Mask. You and I are both in agreement. We're not trading perspectives. We both think that, shucks, it's not that big a deal. And if a business wants you to wear one, go ahead and wear one, or don't. But if you don't want to wear one, don't go into the store. Let's not make a political thing about it. It's not politics. Don't go.
Yep.
Keep one in your pocket in case you need it. All right. With that, we always love to hear from you all. So if you have any comments or questions, by all means, please drop us a line. You can always reach us by going to our email, tradingperspectives@oakworth.com, or you can leave us a review on the podcast outlet of your choice. As always, you can go to oakworth.com to look underneath the Thought Leadership tab to find all kinds of interesting information to figure out more about how we think and how we view the world. With that, Sam, I'm going to give you one last chance to come up with something just so insightful that people will remain listening.
That's a tough one, but I think that's all I got.
That's all I've got today, too. Y'all take care and wear a mask if you need to.